Hello and welcome to the channel. Yes, it is time for another big sale on AliExpress. There are 4 of such sales every year with some serious discounts offered, 30% and higher. This sale is called a summer sale or winter mega sale, depending in which hemisphere you are. There are of course sales in between too, however the best discounts are normally offered during these key sale events. The sale starts on the 12th of June and runs right through until the 18th of June. However, there are some really sharp offerings in the days leading towards the sale week. So I would strongly recommend to take advantage of those deals, especially if the seller offers 50% or higher discounts. First of all, 50% or higher is actually a really good discount. And second, if the item is very popular, it is not unheard of for seller to run out of stock within days. In this video, I will, as usual, go over my recommendations. Generally, those are watches that I already reviewed or the ones I'm planning on buying, already bought and waiting for delivery. And as heads up, this year so far is shaping up to be a year of GMT watches. Most of them are based on the Seagull's recently released NH34 movement, so there will be a fair few of those among my recommendations, even a couple under $100. And some you might be already familiar with, and some, or at least one, are actually quite new. And of course, we will look at titanium offerings that appeared recently on AliExpress. That is, of course, if you have extra 150 or maybe $200 burning hole in your pocket. I'm not selling this very well, am I? For the watches that I already reviewed, I will leave a link to those reviews in the description of this video. And of course, I create such videos for most of the AliExpress sales, and I try to keep an overlap between watches mentioned in each of those videos to a minimum. So don't forget to check out my previous recommendation videos. And just before we move on, for a full disclosure, there will be links to each of the mentioned watches in the description of this video. Those are affiliate links, which means that without costing you anything extra, I might get a commission on some of the qualifying purchases, which of course helps to run this channel and create more useful content for you. So thank you very much in advance. I will be reviewing at least some of those watches in the near future, so don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss any of those reviews. I try to keep the order of the list, starting with the most affordable to most expensive timepieces. However, in some places I group the watches by type rather than by price, but it should get clear as we move over the list. First on the list is this aggressively discounted Pagani Design Panda chronograph. I actually didn't buy this watch last time, but I couldn't resist this time around for almost half the price for this already low-priced watch. And there is also another reason for me to get this watch. I might get my hands on a Tudor Black Bay Panda chronograph in the near future, so it would be fun to compare the two. So in terms of details, this watch has been around for some time and hardly needs any introduction, but just in case you are not familiar, we get the usual premium specs here: sapphire crystal, stainless steel construction and Japanese Seika mecha quartz movement. The mecha quartz movement, as the name suggests, is a combination of quartz and mechanical design, giving us the accuracy and reliability of quartz and sweeping hand and tactile mechanical controls of the chronograph. And yes, this price, it is a lot of watch for the money. And I will also leave links to this other heavily discounted chronographs based on the same movement. It would be great if the same discounts hold during the main sale period. Next on the list is Pagani Design Project AK, also known as Speed Grandmaster. I bought this one on the last sale and reviewed it. It is an absolute cracker of a watch. Very well executed. Pagani is definitely getting better at finishing and build quality while still maintaining those super low prices. This particular one is apparently a version 5 and it has a couple of tricks up its sleeve. First one is updated anti-reflective coating, which is quite effective, and sapphire crystal and sapphire bezel. Check my review video where I put all those claims to the test. Clean white dial with a touch of silver dust and a good functional stainless steel bracelet. The links to my review and to the watch listing are in the description of this video. Steeldive SD1970. Still sitting well under $100 price category. is this Captain Willett Steeldive SD1970, a brilliant watch for the money. I reviewed it some times ago and it is one of the most popular watches on my channel and on AliExpress, so I thought I will include it in this listing as a reminder, or for those viewers who are not actually familiar with this watch. A quick recap of the specifications: well executed and finished case and bracelet with 20mm locks, though there are tons of strap options. My favorite being this tropical one. I will of course leave a link in the description to this listing as well. An H35 movement, ceramic bezel, sapphire crystal with good anti-reflective coating and a very decent lume, including a lumed bezel. Now we are getting to the GMT category, and yes, of course, we are looking at NH34 movement-based watches. However, we are still under $100 price point. Remember Corgeut? I reviewed a Corgeut Homage to Aquaterra a while ago, and it was a good all-arounder watch with a very competitive price tag. I will leave a link to the review in the description of this video if you want to check it out. Lately, for some reason, this brand slipped off my radar for a while, but looks like they are not prepared to miss the GMT NH34 movement evolution, or is it a revolution rather, while still keeping their prices very competitive. So I will see if I can get this watch for review. What we get here? Well, we get a familiar design and of course full stainless steel construction with a solid bracelet, sapphire crystal, NH34 movement. Now Corgeut still offers this watch with the old GMT movement. I would strongly recommend to go for NH34 option here, even though it costs a few bucks more. So do make sure to select the right movement option when buying this watch. And while we are on the subject of NH34 based GMT watches in under $100 category, there is another offering from Corgeut which also comes comfortably under $100. The same as with the previous watch, do make sure to choose the correct movement option, and as in previous case, my recommendation here is slightly more expensive NH34 movement. Furthermore, it looks like not all the colorways ship with a ceramic bezel insert. Based on the listings, only the black and red and green and black combinations are ceramic and other are aluminum inserts, so something to be aware of when choosing this watch. Mercur W10 Dirty Dozen Homage. I reviewed this British military style watch a few weeks ago and it is very well executed and finished timepiece. If you are into military style watches, this one will not disappoint, offering all the hallmarks of the minimalistic military design for around $100. In terms of specs, it is appropriately sized at 38mm diameter, and with 20mm lugs, it is an absolute strap darling. Dress it up or dress it down. Finishing is really good too. It comes with a good quality leather strap, and also there are a bunch of different dial layouts and colorways, so you can choose one that you like. It has a couple of unique quirks though, which are usually specific to military-style watches. First, it uses a mechanical wind movement, not an automatic one. And it also uses mineral crystal. Both of those quirks are apparently done in an attempt to stick as close as possible to the military specifications of the day. And I will leave, of course, a link to my review and to the watch listing in the description of this video. And I couldn't pass another classic offering from Seagull here, which I think has a great classic dress looks and specifications for frankly a ridiculous price, especially taking into account that Seagull is by far not your average AliExpress brand. Seagull produces its own original designs and movements of all levels of complexity, including tourbillons, as well as the movement in this very watch. So what else do we get here? Well, of course, we get a classic dress watch dimensions of 38mm, and we have a sapphire crystal and an in-house ST2130 Seagull manufactured automatic mechanical movement based on a Swiss ETA design with 42 hours of power reserve and beating at 28,800 vibrations per hour. Next, we have this very aggressively priced Cadisen mechanical chronograph based on the Seagull ST19 movement. I reviewed Cadisen watches in the past and they always had good quality control, good finishing and good attention to detail. I like the case design on this one with indented sides of the lugs and squared-shaped chrono pushers. This one is also somewhat similar to another ST19 moved-based chronograph I reviewed recently from Seagull. I also highly recommend that Seagull watch, but all being equal, this Cadisen is priced well better. So you can actually buy this Cadisen chronograph and still have money left for Steeldive or Pagani Design watch that we covered already at the start of this list. So a quick run through the specifications. We have a stainless steel construction with 40mm diameter and 20mm lugs, Seagull ST19 mechanical chronograph movement, and of course sapphire crystal. Next on the list is the watch that really impressed me when I've got it for review, and I regret I actually didn't buy it earlier. It is a PHYLIDA homage to a Planet Ocean. Three key highlights here. The first one is that this watch features probably the best bracelet and the clasp implementation for this style of watch on AliExpress in this price category. Second is actual price. Yes, there is a lot of watch for the money here. And the third, this watch actually features 500 meters of claimed water resistance. Quite impressive for $134. So what do we get? Well, we get a full stainless steel construction and a very good finishing, sapphire crystal and well-executed ceramic bezel, Japanese NH35 movement, dependable and reliable, and a decent lume, especially taking into account the price point. And we get well-finished and executed bracelet and clasp. My next pick is this Pagani Design GMT watch with a Seiko NH34 GMT movement. I reviewed the original pre-NH34 movement version of this watch and it was very good. Since then, Pagani Design introduced the NH34 movement and now they also released what they call a version 2 of this watch with improved lume, improved anti-reflective coating, better proportioned hands and better quality control on the dial. So this seems like a very good option for the price, and after handling the previous movement version of this watch in the past, I can definitely recommend this watch. So do check my review if you're interested. Of course, the question is, does this watch warrants the premium over the Corgeut, which is based on the same movements that we saw earlier in this list? Well, this watch is definitely executed very well in terms of build quality and attention to detail. However, we are not used to seeing Pagani Design priced so close to $200. So let's see if it gets well discounted during this sale period. Okay. My next pick is what is probably best described as GMT SKX homage from Steeldive. I'm waiting for delivery of this watch and rest assured I will post the review or at least my initial impressions as soon as it is delivered. But so far I think Steeldive created a very compelling package here. Naturally, it has Seiko NH34 GMT movement, sapphire crystal, ceramic bezel, good lume including a lumed bezel. I went for the black dial with stainless steel bracelet version here, however, they offer a few other colorways and bracelet options. Please note that the orange colorway is about $30 more expensive. I guess this is either due to the use of different colors or maybe Steeldive considers this colorway to be more popular and price them higher. And before we move to the more expensive timepieces, a quick mention of possibly my favorite San Martin watch, the Ghost Diver SN017 version 3. I'm actually wearing this watch right now and it probably gets the most wrist time. I cannot recommend this watch enough. For around $200, this thing is very well built and is a great package for the money. Check my review video in the description, although it was done some times ago and the production quality, let's say, was work in progress back then and has gotten by far, or at least a little bit better since, well, I hope so anyway. Pushing a bit higher in price category but still delivering a good value and quality is this Seagull GMT watch. I reached out to Seagull and I am waiting for delivery of this watch for review. There is a lot to like about this timepiece, including the on-the-fly adjustment clasp, good dial execution, I like the black framing on the hour and minute hands, lume apparently is quite potent as well. I also like the branding, one of the better aesthetically pleasing choice of fonts on the dial and on the clasp. And we get a nicely raised sapphire crystal as a cherry on the top. All this bundled in a quite competitively priced package of about $240. And as I promised, here is System Titanium watch, really well priced for a titanium timepiece. The quality of finishing looks pretty good, and based on my experience with System watches in the past, the build quality is usually quite solid as well. System offers this watch in 3 different colorways with 2 movement options, an H38 and a high-beat Seagull ST2130. Both movements have a good reputation. I like that they went with the Seiko NH38 movement because it is essentially the same as a very popular Seiko NH35, but without the date complications, so we will not have a ghost position of the crown on this watch, which doesn't feature a date. And to round up the list, not surprising, the most expensive watch on my list is another titanium watch, this time from San Martin. Now, to be frank, this is a suggestion to consider this watch rather than a hardcore recommendation on my part. Mid-$500 price tag is kind of holding me back. I will reach out to San Martin if they want to send me this watch for review so I can form a better opinion. However, if you're a hardcore fan of San Martin watches, and I know there are some viewers of my channel that are very loyal to this brand, then you might consider this watch. So what do we have here? Well, San Martin used a mix of grade 5 and grade 2 titanium in construction of this watch, with grade 5 being somewhat better in number of specifications than grade 2. That is, the grade 5 titanium being even more scratch resistant than grade 2 and also having a bit more stainless steel-like color rather than sort of grayish color that we used to see on other titanium watches. And based on my experience with San Martin as a company, they are generally very transparent about technologies and design approaches that they use. We have solid bracelet, which is also made out of titanium. We have screw pins and a clasp with on-the-fly adjustment. We also have all the premium materials like a ceramic bezel and sapphire crystal. San Martin decided not to include the date on this watch, which personally I'm not a big fan of. I do like having a date complication. However, this is a personal choice, and I know there are a lot of watch enthusiasts that are okay with a simple 3-hander clean dial. And we have 2 options of handsets on offer, as well as 2 movement options, PT5000 and Swiss Sellita SW200, with Sellita option priced at $550. So here you have it. Please let me know what other watches from AliExpress you would like me to review. I do find your suggestions very, very helpful. Unfortunately, as you can imagine, I cannot do all of them, so let's say if the watch suggestion collects more than 20 likes, I will then add it to my review pipeline. Thanks for watching, take care, don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.